We all wear them, quiet masks crafted from smiles and nods, and the need to belong. But beneath that painted surface, something delicate lives, a soul that tires of the performance. Carl Jung called it the persona, a necessary face we show the world. But tonight, we watch it crack, not with cruelty but with gentle reverence, as the truth behind the mask begins to breathe again. Because sometimes the collapse of the persona is not destruction. It is a tender rebirth, a homecoming to the self that was waiting all along. As dawn whispers softly across the horizon of your awareness, we gently step into the sacred realm of self-exploration, a journey where the soul touches the delicate threads of its concealed reflections. Here, we traverse not for answers, but to explore the intricate lattice of personas that silently weave the fabric of our lives. Our voyage begins at the very surface, lifting the veil of masks we unknowingly donned as children, a shield against a world teeming with unpredictability. From our earliest breaths, we learn to present ourselves in the luminous glow of acceptance. A child's innocent smile, a nod we mimic, pleasantries uttered like sacred incantations, these become the tapestry we craft for survival. Over the years, these expressions entwine seamlessly with our being, forming what may be described as a first skin. This silky layer, meant to protect, gradually dulls the edges of genuine emotion, forming both a refuge and a shroud against the sharp edges of reality. We endeavour to understand this protective layer's complex relationship within the vast landscape of our identity, circling back to its beginnings in the gentle garden of childhood. In those tender years, even as we breathe in life's first breaths, we respond to our world with cries and coos, gestures born from necessity. Gradually, these simple acts evolve into subtle negotiations with an ever-watchful environment. Under the gentle tutelage of caregivers and the silent scripting of culture, our nascent masks take shape, guiding us on which parts of ourselves to reveal and which to shelter in shadows. We entrusted these facades to ensure love, safety, and a place in the world's intricate dance. These early masks, originally fluid and flexible, slowly solidify into patterns that bind us to themselves, as if nature, once playful, became stone. What once was a defence now quietly imprisons us within societal narratives, muting the vibrant pulse of our authentic self. We find comfort in Nietzsche's wisdom that urges individual expression, yet fear binds us to our masks, whispering dangers about raw exposure. This journey of understanding our personas is not simple concealment, but a stirring confrontation with latent authenticity. As we wander through this tension, the path toward true liberation unfurls, inviting a return to our essential selves. Within this labyrinth of self-presentation lies a dance between expression and genuine feeling. From young ages, the border between our felt experience and the expressions we choose becomes blurred, a dance learnt from necessity. A smile held tightly against frustration, agreement where discord lives. These acts assure social peace, yet subtly impose a price. The more we bury authentic emotions beneath a carefully curated surface, the more distant we become from the rich terrains of our inner emotional world. This dissonance breeds an emotional literacy, where words and gestures become mere automatons, unhitched from their true meaning. The persona, once an ally, stands as gatekeeper between consciousness and authentic emotion. In this straitjacket of appearances, our interior universe remains largely unmapped. Slowly, we untangle this complexity, matching our words and expressions with the rhythms of our inner truths, a delicate dance demanding courage, inviting emotional intelligence to bloom. Masks subtly demand constant upkeep, their maintenance an almost invisible toll. Every rehearsed expression, every forced laughter becomes a particle in a growing reservoir of unvoiced emotions beneath a serene exterior. These suppressed torrents create tension, unrest felt deep within the fabric of our being. Over time, as this silent demand whispers, our psychic landscape becomes shrouded, draining the lifeblood of our creativity and introspection. Renowned psychologist Carl Rogers spoke of uncovering ourselves by removing these facades, meeting vulnerabilities with earnest acceptance. This endeavour is akin to entering a shadowy abyss, yet beneath each layer, a deeper understanding and liberation beckon. As time weaves masks into the essence of our identity, what begins as a surface image becomes the self's reflection. Our personas, coined by Carl Jung as the persona, slip from being mere presentation to a self-concept, blurring boundaries between reality and creation. Here the importance of introspection climbs, urging us to separate rehearsed identities from our intrinsic being. Discernment becomes vital in our awakening, being aware of when masks serve us and when they deter us from genuine interaction. Personal discernment, though crafted by habit, becomes a paramount tool in aligning the outer with our inner worlds, nurturing authenticity's sweet bloom. Our journey concludes not in fragments, but in integration, weaving the truth of our masks into the vast tapestry of self-discovery. The release from these masks bears not just liberation, but a return, a homecoming to the self, unblemished by societal drafts. Remember, the quest for authenticity is not perfection demanded by the intellect, but an all-embracing endeavour, taking root in every fibre of our being. Here lies the path to awakening, where masks, once our guardians, become instruments in our grasp. The eternal unfolding of self, brushing intimately with every nuance, reminds us our journey is infinite, constantly unmasking and rediscovering the vibrant essence of our authentic selves. In the quiet dance between the soul and society, the persona emerges as a bridge, a delicate armour donned to navigate social landscapes that can feel harsh to the unguarded self. We gently mould these facades, drawing from cultural whispers, familial echoes and societal norms, until they solidify into the masks we wear. Each mask holds a seductive promise, acceptance, protection from rejection, and a safe passage through life's unpredictable terrain. Yet, what is the value of acceptance when built upon a version of ourselves that remains but a shadowy echo? The persona cloaks itself in the guise of a comfort zone, yet this bubble of safety is often as fragile as the surface that sustains it. In wearing these masks, we barter away authenticity for perceived security, a trade whose cost is seldom seen. Still, the allure of safety is hard to resist. From early days, society teaches us that a smile, a nod, or even gentle defiance in an acceptable form wins rewards, embedding a cycle of seduction in the persona's embrace. Acceptance coloured by the mask loses its vibrancy, pulsing more to the rhythm of external approval than the quiet beat of our internal truths. As we chase this perceived safety, our desires, fears, and true expressions become echoes aligned with those around us. The persona's promise whispers with comforting insistence, assuring us of worth tethered to adherence to its unspoken rules. This comfort, however, is a well-dressed illusion, offering shelter even as it obscures the raw truth of self-discovery. The tapestry of our existence weaves an intricate dance with authenticity, a promise of liberation shadowed by the daunting fee it demands in a world accustomed to facades. The persona whispers caution, warning that bearing the soul invites vulnerability too heavy to bear. Though abstractly appealing, authenticity poses risks, fears of derision, misunderstandings, even of daunting realms of success. Overtly and subtly, we learn that conformity to the mould means avoiding the scythe reserved for those who dare stand alone. The persona continues its dominion by entwining safety with the graces of societal sameness. In this internal narrative, the cost of being our true selves appears insurmountable. Within the persona's depths, authenticity seems to open us to harsh judgment and ridicule. Yet, upon deeper reflection, these fears reveal themselves as projections, distorted views formed by the same societal forces that moulded our masks. True safety is not found in hiding, but in embracing authenticity with discernment and courage. By venturing into the fullness of our essence, the narrative shifts. Authenticity emerges not as a perilous journey, but the ground upon which genuine safety and connection anchor themselves. It is standing in the truth of who we are, not in the false shadows of pretense, that we find real sanctuary. The social world unfurls as a dance of approval, a choreography internalized quickly and seamlessly as we grow. The persona, skilled in this rhythmic art, nudges us toward compliance's steady beat, promising warmth for those who follow and the cool of disapproval in those who falter. In our yearning for acceptance, each nod and smile becomes a form of psychological currency, exchanged as we trade fragments of authenticity. Here, the persona plays its role as the diplomat, orchestrating interactions to ensure approval's gentle balm continues to flow. The melody soothes, though beneath it churns a discord we often ignore. Bound tightly to perceptions that do not align with our true selves, approval becomes a tether. We learn the language of the persona, speaking not to the soul, but to the ego's cravings for affirmation. With each act of conformity, the supposed safety of approval is reinforced, binding us ever tighter within the persona's embrace. Yet, the relentless pursuit of external validation pulls us further from our core essence. This familiar dance shifts into a loop of self-alienation, masked smiles veiling the uncomfortable truth. Approval is a fleeting reward, subject to the tides of opinion. Our genuine strength arises not from clinging to transient favour, but from the unwavering acceptance of our multifaceted, unadorned selves. Around this facade, the myth of effortless belonging weaves its spell. Cultural narratives idolise seamless charm and social ease, ideals the persona seeks to emulate. This myth whispers that, once successfully crafted, the mask will lead us to effortless social integration, an imagined community where acceptance flows unchecked. The persona, like a chameleon, appears able to blend seamlessly into any environment, promising that fitting in requires no more effort than choosing the right disguise. Yet, belonging is mistaken for mere acceptance, with the nuance between them lost like morning dew. In truth, this myth lays a fragile foundation for connection. Effortless belonging is captivating in its fallacy, because true belonging demands presence, commitment, vulnerability, the very qualities the persona resists. Real integration is achieved by peeling back layers, inviting others into the rawness of our truth. It calls for courage to face rejection, as well as embrace acceptance. Ultimately, genuine belonging requires leaving behind the persona's promise and emerging from its shadow to engage with others untethered by expectation or fear of judgment, finding profound engagement where the mask cannot venture. In the quiet, hidden realms of the psyche, where delicate whispers reign, lies the shadow, a repository of the self that society insists must remain unseen. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow as the keeper of traits we cast away, remnants of authenticity sewn into darkness by the persona we don like a second skin. Anger, grief, and those fervent desires deemed too wild for the world seek refuge in these shadowy corridors, waiting patiently for their day to emerge from the depths. Yet in our vigilant pursuit of the persona, we invariably nourish this shadow. Each denial of genuine feeling deepens the chasm between who we present and the submerged truths within. This dissonance births a tension, a subtle hum beneath conscious awareness, influencing whispers of unrest in thoughts and actions. When the mask slips, the shadow speaks gently but insistently, through dreams, stumbles in speech, and emotions breaching the surface uninvited, remind us of what remains unfulfilled within. In our navigation of societal landscapes, the persona becomes our sculptor, chiselling the contours of expectation against the grain of our intrinsic nature. Initially a shield, this process carves deeper recesses for the shadow to flourish. Suppressed impulses find sanctuary below, their vibrancy feeding on the simple promise of love and acceptance, now obscured by layers of self-deceit. Ironically, what once protected us becomes a prison, fragmenting our sense of self and further entrenching the shadow. Repression acts as the silent sentinel, determined to keep unruly emotions banished. Yet what remains buried does not perish. Anger, grief, and desire linger like restless spirits. Stored but not forgotten, they simmer beneath our composed facade, sparking a sharp word, unexpected tears, or profound melancholy. As energy wanes and the mask's weight becomes unbearable, the shadow finds slivers through which to express its truth. Relationships strain under passive-aggressive exchanges or emotional withdrawal, revealing the fractures where shadow collides with persona. Anger, grief, desire, the disowned trinity, are particularly ensnared by the persona's grasp. Anger harshly judged as disruptive. Grief hurried into obscurity behind the guise of moving on. Desire measured and shaped to fit social moulds. Denied their rightful place, these emotions transmute into shadowy forms. Resentment, depression, a yearning unfulfilled, each thread further entwining within the shadow's hidden tangle. Yet, beyond the mask's stronghold lies authenticity, where anger catalyses change, grief nourishes healing, and desire reveals true purpose. Only when acknowledged can these emotions transform, shedding their shadows for conscious integration. Recognition of their intrinsic value dissolves the division, guiding the movement from shadowy depths to harmonious union. The journey into shadow is subtle, akin to a gentle descent cloaked by daily rituals and societal roles. This gradual entrenchment sees shadow traits bleed into life, unnoticed until we mistake them for inherent faults, and so we rationalise our actions, unaware of shadow's undertow. This hazy entrapment perpetuates our divide, personas clinging to shadows unexamined, ever distancing the authentic self. Like fog creeping over a quiet landscape, shadow cloaks us in unawareness, urging a deliberate introspective unveiling. Beneath the facade flows a silent yearning for wholeness, a quest obscured by superficial exchanges. As the shadow swells, this impulse emerges as dissatisfaction, a gentle reminder of the self unrecognised. Left unchecked, it leads to self-sabotage and unexplained sorrow, shadow tension seeking resolution. Yet, when acknowledged, this undercurrent carves a path toward authenticity, allowing persona's grip to loosen and integration to begin. To face the shadows, to embrace resilience, not through sheer will, but tender acceptance, standing firm against the unknown with courage and honesty. Vulnerability becomes strength. Dialogues with shadow parts invite insights, transforming fear into exploration. Through resilience, shadow's fragmentation weaves healing tales of empowerment, guiding us toward an unbroken self. Reintegration is a slow, delicate dance of light and darkness, merging fragments into a self that's both vast and whole. As shadow gains conscious attention, it complements rather than negates the persona. Paths open for buried impulses to find expression. Anger turns to assertiveness, grief to wisdom, and desire to creative flow. With each step, a tapestry of self-authorship unfurls, embracing once dismissed aspects anew, expanding life's horizon. Authentic expression is the key to diminishing shadow, releasing self-awareness beyond persona's confines. Authenticity brightens shadowed corners, diminishing their sway over our lives. The self, acknowledged in all its complexity, aligns with truth. Relationships flourish as genuine motivations replace pretense, blending persona and shadow into a seamless dialogue. Shadows transformed become sit by our side, as wise teachers guiding us toward deeper self-discovery. Redefining shadows not as foes but as instructors enriches personal growth. Within their depths, we learn what we hide from both others and ourselves. Shadows offer glimpses into our truest needs, driving evolution and awareness. Bridging their teachings with conscious identity brings forth a rich wholeness, embracing light and dark, revealing a vibrant self in all its splendour. In the dance of acceptance, many of us learn to wear a mask that shields us, yet quietly stifles our essence. From our earliest days, we are subtly nudged towards crafting personas that seek approval, mired in the subtle glances and gestures of the world around us. Our smiles, nods, and carefully curated responses become a polished veneer, shielding the raw and untouched breath beneath, one that longs to express itself freely. We find ourselves suspended behind a fragile glass where our true selves are visible yet unreachable, encased by an emotional layer of our own making. As the breath of our spirit sinks beneath the surface, so too do we drift from the beating heart of true experience, leaving us as living statues in the theatre of our lives. The world in its colourful dance urges us to mute the vibrant hues of our emotions, exchanging them for a palatable grayscale that blends easily into society's canvas. This suppression demands an unyielding self-monitoring, turning every emotion, thought and impulse into a muted echo of its true self. Each held breath is not merely a denial of impulse, but a silent act of self-censorship. In this internal world, spontaneity is a whispered secret, and authenticity folds into the quiet shadows. It is a life of subdued gestures and quiet glances, where the soul's cries are hushed by the unyielding silence of genteel compliance. Thus, behind the glass, our true self remains an echo, forever yearning for the simple sigh of release and the full breath of unguarded life. The art of self-surveillance is born from the falsehood instilled in childhood, the belief that we must be good to earn love. To be good is to remain watchful. Thus, we become vigilant guardians of our own authenticity. Every breath is measured, not for its essence, but for its potential betrayal. This stifling watchfulness stunts growth, as instincts and desires are filed under the forbidden. Over time, this vigilance becomes second nature, a harsh guardian shaping us into artifacts deemed worthy by society. In the company of others, this self-surveillance sharpens, a tension that permeates each interaction. Though the heart may wish to leap or tremble, our facade remains composed, emotions seemingly quarantined from their authentic selves. We become actors, reciting lines not our own, rehearsing scenes never of our choosing. The mirror reflects an image not of who we are, but who we believe we must be, driving a widening rift between the perceived and the authentic self. This glass cocoon, layered with each suppressed truth, becomes a solitary fortress. It is not just a physical separation, but a deeper existential solitude, freighted with the absence of expressed truth. Each act of quiet self-observation stacks another layer, turning our internal landscapes into terrains of isolation and constraint. Behind this facade, an aching disconnection pervades, locking away the honest self. This world, observed yet untouched, feeds on silence, persisting as an impenetrable barrier against the chaos outside. In time, we resign to this self-imposed solitude, where fear and yearning remain unexpressed, much like a flower kept from the light. The inward isolation creates a vortex of unexpressed anxieties, amplifying fears of exposure and rejection. The very spectres the persona seeks to banish. As we shape our lives within these confines, even our physical selves reflect this internal constraint. Our bodies themselves begin to bear the marks of repression, becoming sculptures of tension and rigidity that mirror the mind's shackles. Breath becomes shallow, shoulders tense and eyes still, a portrait of unwelcome self-surveillance. The very musculature echoes the pressure of our self-imposed mask, turning flesh into just another aspect of the persona's control. Each encounter further ingrains these postures, etching the episodic memoirs of unwelcome rigidity into our being. We grow calcified in habit, resistant to change, even as the soul breathes a distant note of hope for liberation. The persona commands with the illusory promise of control, masking insecurity under the guise of stability. Yet, control tightens its grip, not as protection, but as chains. Like an unceasing taskmaster, it manipulates our choices, symbolising a false equilibrium. What begins as a shield eventually morphs into shackles, locking us in roles that deny spontaneity and suppress untamed life. Here, the illusion is both refuge and prison. Carrying such a skewed emotional reality, we bear the weight of unacknowledged feelings, rendering emotions mere shadows of their true selves. Anger, joy, and grief retreat below the glass, creating a heavy brew that threatens the facade's integrity. Yet, as these also hidden emotions ripple, they draw attention to themselves, whispering reminders of the force they conceal. The dissonance mounts until even the mask quakes beneath its weight. Suddenly there is release, not as an explosion but as soft cracks in the glass. These cracks, tender and revelatory, offer brief visions of the self beneath. They invite us to explore their origins, not to mend or mask, but to understand. Therein lies the opportunity not only to witness the self striving for light and air, but to nurture these moments into authentic exploration. In encountering this fragile junction, Acceptance begins its slow, transformative dance. It is a step towards self-love, unfolding with each breath that is no longer confined, but free to travel its own path. Acceptance does not surrender, but opens a dialogue with the past, allowing breath and body to resonate in their full authenticity, unencumbered, whole and alive in the music of being true. In the delicate architecture of human existence, our personas emerge as intricate tapestries, woven with threads of countless experiences. Over time, these constructs, meticulously assembled with the intention of preserving the illusion of control, begin to show signs of wear. Tiny fissures form, like cracks in ancient porcelain, allowing glimpses of genuine emotion to seep through. An unsteady tremor in the voice, a sudden eruption of rage, or tears that spring forth unbidden. These subtle disruptions in the social masquerade are invitations, beckoning us to explore the depths of our inner worlds. They whisper the truths we've long kept hidden, signalling that the weight of prolonged facade may be too burdensome to bear. As the mask that once shielded us begins to chafe against our skin, we find ourselves at a pivotal juncture. These surface inconsistencies prompt deep introspection, urging us to examine the dissonance between the identity we project and our authentic selves. Much like cracks in a dam, they serve as reminders of the immense pressure mounting behind fortified walls, beckoning the courage to confront our vulnerability. With each subtle fracture, we are called to a dialogue with our own complexities, to reckon with the toll exacted by a life spent cloaked in disguise, and to contemplate the liberation that exists beyond its confines. The tension underlying these fractures does not arise overnight. It is the gradual culmination of unyielding strains that have silently simmered beneath the surface, stretching across years of self-imposed restraint. For so long we have ignored or turned a blind eye to the widening chasm between who we truly are and the persona we exhibit to the world. Those tensions manifest as physical discomfort, mental strain and emotional numbness. Like a fist clenched too long, the prospect of sweet release becomes both foreign and frightening. Our bodies become battlegrounds, with tightly controlled emotions pleading for acknowledgement. Anger, grief, and long-suppressed desires bubble to the surface, crying for expression. As we expose the dissonance between genuine needs and self-imposed constraints, we stand at the threshold of healing. Through moments of unexpected emotional outburst, these cracks become visible. Often spurred by seemingly minor triggers, these outbursts serve as gateways into our deepest truths. Each emotional expression, whether in the form of anger, frustration, or uncontainable sorrow, presents opportunities for introspective inquiry. Where reflexive inclination dismisses them as lapses, we instead find the possibility for profound understanding of oneself. Leaning into these unguarded moments with compassion opens pathways to explore the rifts between genuine need and the demands of convention. Herein lies the potential for transformation, where sporadic emotional eruptions transform into a steady stream of honest self-expression. As these cracks widen, the persona, once an impenetrable fortress, reveals its fragility, gradually eroded by the currents of suppressed truth. The steadfast emotional armour, which once provided an illusion of security, discloses its unsustainability. Defence mechanisms that were artfully constructed now crumble under their own contradictions, exposing the rawness of selfhood veiled beneath. We find ourselves at a crossroads, balancing the longing for authentic connection with the fear of shedding the mask's protective guise. With patience and tenderness, we embrace this unravelling, finding sacred strength in embracing the softer aspects of being. Through this lens, cracks become potent symbols of personal truth. They draw the line where pretension and genuineness converge, inviting us to explore hidden realms of our inner world. In a culture that celebrates perfection, these fissures may feel like evidence of failure. However, viewed as harbingers of transformation, they yield immense power, guiding us into realms populated by the artifacts of authenticity. Here, in the spaces of confrontation and revelation, lies the clarity of personal truth and the forging of new pathways towards self-realization. The exposure that accompanies the revealing of one's authentic self evokes profound discomfort. Each crack opens a disquieting space where parts of ourselves, once deemed unacceptable, are laid bare. Yet within this raw vulnerability lies the raw materials for healing and growth. Embracing these spaces with gentle curiosity requires self-compassion and patience. Each tender spot exposed by rupture becomes a facet of humanity awaiting integration, imploring us to witness our emerging self with tenderness. Through this navigation, we craft a chart connecting the terrain of an authentic life, revealing the paths marked by courage and vulnerability. This rupture, initially lamented, reveals an unexpected gift, an opportunity to confront the burdens we carry and the liberation that resides beyond the mask. In every crack, a sliver of light breaks through, offering glimpses of a more authentic existence. It allows us to breathe deeply and confront every vulnerability, bringing us closer to the essence of who we are, encouraging us to touch the rich potential of life, imbued with personal truth. It invites a journey of self-love and transformation, where reclaiming authenticity becomes the ultimate liberation. In the aftermath of truth's revelation, reconstructing identity from the ground up is paramount. This reconstruction does not entail building another mask, but involves discovering a coherent self that honours vulnerability and strength. In piecing together values, desires, and truths into a tapestry of selfhood, we align our internal world with external expressions, achieving fluid congruence between feeling and being. As we surrender to this transformation, we embrace the beauty of imperfection, recognizing that our flaws bear the strongest testimony to our humanity. Thus we find ourselves stepping into a life unencumbered by the artifice of masks, moving toward genuine connection and joy. With every tear in the facade, we reclaim the power of authenticity. Through this gentle dismantling of psychological armour, we deepen self-awareness and cultivate richness within our lives, with each moment unfolding anew. In embracing both our vulnerabilities and strengths, we nurture a path where authenticity and healing permeate our being, and so the sacred journey begins anew, leading us toward a life unbound, where our innermost truths sing in harmony with our outward expressions. In the quiet spaces of our external interactions, there exists a concealed self longing for recognition, a shadowed aspect shaped by years of rejection and misunderstanding. This hidden persona, cloaked in longing, whispers our deepest fears and desires, mastering invisibility in a swift world. It is a paradox in practicing the art of unseen existence. We become proficient in retreating to the shadows, our truths and essence ripe yet unheard above the clamour of external demands. This concealed self, often standing unseen amid conversation, endures a loneliness that is profound, a solitude felt even when surrounded by others. The paradox emerges anew. We remain prominent in our masks, yet hidden within them, weaving through interactions while the fabric strains under unspoken words and emotions. We feel displaced not just by others' oversight, but by our own hesitation in revealing our true forms, leading to the haunting notion that our belonging is continually in question. Behind a facade of smiles, our emotional landscape remains vast and unshared, guarded by fear of vulnerability. Over time, this suppressed inner world forms an intricate labyrinth, fostering isolation and detachment from genuine emotional intimacy. This fortification grows from quiet endurance, shielding us from perceived threats but imprisoning us in a fortress of solitude where pain's burden silently intensifies. The act of being overlooked inflicts a unique desolation, confirming the mask's success at concealing the true essence beneath. As others engage only with the superficial, we internalize the narrative of unworthiness, starting to doubt our value and striving to meet expectations that alienate us from our desires. This cycle of invisibility distorts self-perception as external validation overshadows intrinsic worth, feeding into a loop of perpetual concealment. There exists an irony in feeling unseen amidst company, where one's mask may be acknowledged, even celebrated, yet the soul remains unnoticed. This disconnect echoes in spaces meant for connection, where external validation feels hollow and interactions turn transactional. With growing skepticism toward intimacy, previous affirmations of futility in connection cast a cold shadow over relationships, fostering a solitude that persists even when physically surrounded. The world outside insists on the mask's permanence, and societal expectations press for conformity to roles and labels, confining authenticity beneath imposed identities. Internally, this pressure amplifies personal fears, suggesting authenticity is a risk too steep to bear. Trapped between yearning for liberation and fear of exposure, we persist in holding the mask close, a reluctant guardian of unspeakable truth. Through this mask, the risk of identity fragmentation grows, as its dominance blurs the line between self-preservation and betrayal. The resulting disconnect stunts growth and confines exploration within artificial boundaries. The emotional tension of denied authentic expression may manifest in anxiety or depression, unspoken rebellion hidden beneath the smiles we present. As the mask entrenches, the authentic voice diminishes, echoing through life's corridors as the whispers of the person we pretend to be. Breaking the cycle of invisibility begins with awareness, a courageous invitation to let go of the mask and embrace vulnerability as strength. It involves re-evaluating self-worth, leaning from external validation to an inner authenticity slowly and deliberately. As old habits are unravelled, new healthier practices honour the true self, releasing the burden of the mask's restraints in favour of genuine connection. This cycle's dissolution involves nurturing connections that embrace the authentic self, fostering understanding and empathy. Through self-reflection and self-compassion, the pains of invisibility gradually dissolve, opening pathways to a life where the self is celebrated and integrated into daily existence. The embrace of authenticity is a choice to be seen, to reveal the unguarded self in small acts of honesty. It means sharing truth selectively, fostering genuine bonds beyond superficial acquaintance. Engaging communities valuing authenticity, where fear of judgment vanishes, cultivates an environment encouraging the self to breathe freely. imperfection informs interactions, leading to fulfilling engagements where the true self is visible and cherished. Reclaiming the invisible self is a journey toward wholeness, integrating shadow into the light of awareness. It demands a courageous confrontation with the persona's denied traits, gently unearthing what's been buried under years of pretense. Acknowledging the beauty and pain of being fully human allows the self to rediscover its voice, desires and power, elements patiently awaiting celebration. This process emphasizes compassion and forgiveness for past choices to remain unseen, understanding these decisions as necessary for preservation. By adopting this perspective, regret fades, and past experiences find reframing as lessons in resilience. In reclaiming the invisible self, transformation emerges as profound, leading to a life where the true self stands strong, its essence and purpose fully realized. Paths to essence redefine belonging from pursuing external affirmation to internal acceptance. It demands building a foundation rooted in authenticity, independent of artificial expectations. This journey, unique to each individual, is a continuous reflection and mindfulness, guiding choices and actions towards integrity and truth. Belonging becomes a state of existence, a sanctuary where invisibility is let go and the unmasked self is recognized and cherished in the quiet satisfaction of living unapologetically. In the dawn of our social existence, we are introduced to the subtle art of performance. As children, our innocent laughter and unguarded creativity slowly morph into choreographed dances for approval. From early footsteps, we learn to mirror expectations, our innate spontaneity replaced by practiced facades. This serves as our shield and our shackles, merging with our essence until it becomes difficult to discern where the child ends and the role begins. As we step into adulthood, the stage on which we perform widens, drawing us into a larger play of social roles and obligations. We wear numerous masks, each crafted to navigate the silent scripts of society. Every interaction, a whispered rehearsal of position and pride, feeds the persona, allowing it to grow both strong and demanding. But with time, this play demands its toll. The persona's demands leave us weary, the authenticity of emotions drained by the ceaseless need to maintain our constructed image. Emotional resilience wanes, ebbing away as the performance continues, and our true feelings lie dormant, unexpressed. In living for the applause, we start to distrust our own emotions, questioning if what we feel is truly ours or merely a shadow cast by our own mask. Vulnerability seems a dangerous breach, risking the collapse of this carefully curated identity. Trust between our inner selves and the outer world weakens, locked in a silent yet exhausting battle. Our mental health too pays the price. The gap between who we truly are and the persona we uphold grows wider with each act, each scene. This unending strain births a tired emptiness, victories feeling hollow without the soul to celebrate them. The mind, busy crafting illusions, loses its sharp focus, its ability to innovate and solve, as the energy required to maintain appearances eats away at inner peace. Anxiety and discontentment simmer beneath the surface, painting our internal landscape in shades of lingering dissatisfaction. With each passing day, the returns of mask-wearing diminish. What once offered solace now constricts the soul. Relationships, though abundant, are like fragile glass, clear yet impenetrable, lacking the warmth of genuine connection. We converse with echoes, avoiding the depth of truth, layering words with platitudes that contain neither risk nor intimacy. The heart, yearning for depth, finds only shallow pools where it hopes for an ocean. This performance exacts energy, like a river endlessly channeled into tributaries leading nowhere. The act of role shifting, at home, at work, in the glow of digital screens, commands so much of our being. This burden follows even into solitude, affording no rest as the mind remains captive to its own scripted echoes. All around is the cacophony of roles, drowning out the quiet song of the self, the voice that calls us back to our core vitality. And so, as the mask grows, the identity aspires to clarity but finds only confusion. Who am I beneath this veneer, beneath this practiced ease? The essence lies muffled, obscured by layers of expectation, making the exploration of one's true potential a path yet unwalked. Conformity becomes a stagnation, where desires remain untested dreams, and individuality an undiscovered land. In this hallowed play of life, true connection stands at a distance. Behind these personas, bonds remain fragile and incomplete, longing for the authenticity they require, but rarely receive. Despite the presence of others, loneliness clutches the heart, hidden flaws protected, yet yearning for exposure to reveal the beauty behind them. Trust and intimacy languish behind these barricades, where love waits as a whispered promise. Yet in this darkness, a path calls, the path back to authenticity, a journey begun with awareness and an embrace of vulnerability. Through practices of reflection and stillness, we might listen again to our own secrets, finding courage in the honest confrontation of self. Engaging with those who see us beyond masks nurtures this renewed journey, supporting the unfolding of authentic being. Though daunting, it offers the first rays of freedom, leading towards a life aligned with what is most true. Stepping away from endless performance invites the redefinition of success, detached from the hollow echoes of outside validation. True fulfillment resides in alignment, where the inner compass rather than applause of the crowd directs the soul. Within the confines of this newfound truth lies profound satisfaction, a deeper connection, a rhythm in tune with the heart's desire, transcending mere accomplishment for authentic joy. Finally, as the masks fall away, a horizon emerges, illuminated by freedom's light. Vulnerability is no longer a threat, but is welcomed as a path to connection and grace. Shedding the weight of pretension reveals a landscape of boundless potential, where joy resides not in the clamour of approval, but in the serene embrace of shared existence. Together we unearth the luminous truth, inviting the universe to see us as we truly are, whole and profound, complete. In the gentle embrace of silence, where the world's clamour fades into a distant hum, the inner voice emerges, an ethereal whisper that drifts through the quiet like a breeze. As distractions dissolve, the persona we crafted begins its soft confession, revealing the stories it has told, stories we once mistook for the whole truth. Like reading forgotten pages from a journal hidden deep within, these whispers articulate the identities we've meticulously constructed, each infused with desires for affirmation or pride. Here in this vast quietude, every murmured thought becomes a translucent echo of our needs and fears, invitations to understand their root and influence. Across this tranquil expanse, silence isn't just absence, it is a palpable presence, insistently drawing us inward. Here the persona takes on the role of a keeper, a guardian of sorts, silently narrating its justification for the masks we wear. We sit with it, attuned to its familiar stories, those comforting lines that have guided our steps and choices. It's a pivotal moment where we face the duality within us, the visible self meeting the hidden depths that long to be seen. This moment marks the beginning of transformation, a steady movement toward recognizing the intricate dance between constructed identity and genuine self, a step toward shedding the elaborate veneer to reclaim our authentic being. As we venture deeper into this silence, an expansive wilderness unfurls, an intricate, uncharted realm of emotions and thoughts long abandoned. To wander here demands courage, for this territory is dense with memories, desires, and fears carefully locked away. Yet within this untamed land lies the hidden potential for genuine growth and self-awareness, an invitation to dig beneath our polished facades and illuminate the truths buried below. In silence, we step forth without casting judgment, allowing our inner narratives to slowly unfurl and reveal their ancient secrets. This inward journey might feel daunting, yet it becomes a sacred pilgrimage toward authenticity. Patterns and hidden pathways slowly emerge, asking us to discern the persona's voice from the tender whispers of the subconscious. Each step into this wilderness unearths forgotten emotions, setting a course for profound self-discovery. Initially intimidating, this interior realm reveals its wisdom as vulnerability is embraced, fostering a deeper connection with our essence. Though the path may twist and turn, patience and compassion ensure that it ultimately reveals insights and revelations once beyond our grasp. Understanding our persona's enduring grip requires we acquaint ourselves with the quietly persistent inner narrator. Often enshrouded in layers of doubt or self-importance, this inner voice has filtered our perceptions and scripted our engagements. The unveiling process is one of gentle discovery, a delicate dialogue between conscious thought and the hidden voice that lingers beneath. Through attentive listening, free from rush or criticism, we bring the inner narrator into view, dissecting how it shapes and restricts our sense of self. This unveiling peels back the layers of self-worth, scrutinizing the underlying fears and aspirations masked by our constructed fronts. By listening intently, we approach the raw truth of our being, stripped of others' expectations and projections. Here in the sacred intersection of self-awareness and introspection, courage is kindled to challenge the status quo, slowly disentangling from narratives that no longer serve us. Liberation follows as we release outdated tales, welcoming our true selves into the light. In this silent communion, the rigid facade of the persona begins to dissipate, unveiling an intricate tapestry of emotions and truths. As we attune to this subtle language, interpreting shifts within our psyche becomes an art form, a dance with the intervals between thoughts, the pause before breath, the quiet punctuating introspection. Here the persona's stronghold loosens, and the authentic self begins to voice its existence through revelations both tender and transformative. Silence stretches out as a canvas upon which thoughts and emotions paint the essence of our truth, unfettered by societal constraints. Vulnerability, often misconstrued as weakness, stands as a pivotal force in this delicate confrontation with the persona. Within the sanctuary of silence, vulnerability emerges not as a liability, but a powerful gateway to healing. It calls us to embrace discomfort, acknowledging emotions we have suppressed for so long. Stripped of pretense, we open up to the infinite possibilities that self-discovery offers. As we begin to dismantle the persona's protective walls, vulnerability becomes a catalyst for genuine connection, bridging our isolated selves to the larger tapestry of human experience. By accepting our vulnerabilities, we grow to understand shared humanity, fostering self-acceptance and compassion. As the persona's defences soften, pathways open, paving the way for authentic expression. The seeds of transformation, nurtured in silence, bloom into genuine evolution. Amid this quiet reckoning lies our shadow, the hidden elements of self, classified as unworthy or perilous. As silence nudges them into view, they extend an invitation to accept rather than deny, offering an opportunity to integrate these components. Here, repressed truths find the courage to speak, each a crucial thread contributing to our wholeness and integrity. Acceptance is vital, encouraging us to release control and recognize the complex mosaic of self. The shadow implores us to confront our fears, acknowledging contradictions and intricacies. This dance with the shadow embodies a profound journey toward personal unity, weaving separated parts into a harmonious whole. It is, at its core, an act of liberation, challenging the persona's dominance and guiding us toward a balanced existence, where all facets of self are introduced into the light. In the quiet, tender moments of existence, casting aside our carefully crafted masks, unfolds a journey of profound courage. Our masks, which have forever been our shield, protecting from the harsh winds of judgment, become prisons of their own, confining us away from the authentic liberation that our souls yearn to find. To step bravely into the unknown, the mists of fear gathering at our feet, we embrace those fears not as barriers, but as ancient guides leading us toward self-discovery. As we peel back these layers, we journey into the realms of our deepest selves, where courage emerges not in the absence of fear, but in a gentle acceptance of it, an intimate dance with the uncertainties that lie ahead. Shedding the protective layers of persona is like stripping bark from a tree, revealing the supple inner wood. Each layer peeled back invites vulnerability, an open and raw state that society often teaches us to shun. But within this tenderness lies a formidable strength. It is the gateway to genuine connection and profound self-awareness. By showing ourselves unguarded and true, we allow the seeds of authentic relationships to take root. In our vulnerability, we transcend the illusions of invulnerability and redefine what it means to be strong, not an unwavering shield, but the grace in being truly seen. As the layers fall, hidden truths emerge, like stars appearing in a midnight sky. These truths, wrapped tightly in years of conditioned responses, beckon us to gaze upon them with compassion. Each revelation becomes a thread, delicate yet strong, woven into the tapestry of our being. To unravel this tapestry is to engage in a sacred dialogue with ourselves, embracing our truths not as strangers, but as vital parts of our essence, waiting to be acknowledged and integrated. In the tender process of unveiling, self-compassion becomes a nurturing companion. With every discovery, we meet flaws and imperfections that might stir discomfort. Yet self-compassion cradles these revelations, tenderly reframing them as natural aspects of our shared humanity. This softly whispered acknowledgement shifts our focus from relentless self-improvement to the tender acceptance of self, creating a sanctuary within where healing flourishes as freely as wildflowers in an open field. The journey of unmasking sways between resistance and release, a dance of opposites entwined in a delicate balance. Resistance clings to the familiar warmth of our masks, a fervent guardian against the exposure that release promises. Yet, in this friction, there exists an opportunity as profound as the shivering dawn, a chance to relinquish the old stories and rise into the truth of our being, releasing the grip on the past to embrace the gentle winds of authenticity. Rituals lend sacredness to this unmasking, marking the path with quiet reverence. Through meditation, journaling, or quiet reflection beneath a starlit sky, we frame our journey in solemnity, creating moments of worship that honour the spirit's emergence. These rituals act as bridges to the unconscious, allowing hidden insights to surface in the nurturing embrace of ritualistic space, tethering us to the core of who we are. Engaging our shadows is a vital step in unmasking, inviting us to acknowledge and embrace those aspects we often wish to hide. These shadows, unknown fears, hidden desires, are not enemies but pieces of our humanity craving acceptance. By tenderly bringing them into the light, we transform them into allies, integrating them back into the wholeness from which we came. In stillness, away from the frantic noise of life, we carve a refuge for reflection, a peaceful cavern where the echoes of our journey may rest and take shape. Here in the sanctuary of silence, we find clarity and wisdom that gently guide us through the forest of our inner transformation, witnessing the unfolding of our authentic self in reverent wonder. As layers of persona dissolve, our relationships too take on a new form. With courage, we invite a symphony of encounters, resonating with truth, sincerity, and empathy. In our vulnerability, we weave connections unencumbered by facades, building bridges of genuine interaction. We empower others to drop their masks and embrace the beauty of unmasked encounters, enhancing mutual respect and deepening connections. Celebrating wholeness becomes the gentle refrain of this dance of unmasking. With masks laid aside, we embrace the vivid colours of our existence, acknowledging our imperfections as sacred, perfect in their own way. We are not fragments seeking completion, but a harmonious collection of truths and experiences, woven together in the radiant tapestry that declares our being. In celebrating wholeness, we honour our journey, the sacred release that opens us to life's vast symphony, engaging with the world fully, unguardedly, and with a grace reflective of our true, unmasked selves. Stepping into vulnerability is an awakening, an unravelling of barriers that once shielded us from the nakedness of selfhood. It is like crossing a threshold into a realm where we are no longer bound by the constraints of pretense. In shedding this mask, we immerse ourselves in the raw beauty and volatile splendour of human existence. Every interaction, once obscured by the veneer of persona, now pulses with an intensity previously unknown, unfurling an invitation to embrace life in its fullest spectrum. As this vulnerability weaves itself into our being, we begin to see with a clarity that was absent under the shadow of the mask. This unguarded clarity is liberating. It permits joy to surge through our veins more profoundly and love to dwell more deeply within our hearts. We come to understand that vulnerability is not a mark of weakness, but rather a gateway to resilience and wisdom. It opens the path toward a life that is unabashedly real and profoundly meaningful. Authenticity calls to us like a symphony, singing from the depths of our souls. It resonates within our words, actions, and silences, urging us to align our outer presence with our inner truth. This dance of authenticity requires courage, a courageous embrace of who we truly are, and a fearless engagement with the world. unshackled by the armour of pretense. As we breathe life into our authenticity, we allow it to evolve, mirroring our journey of self-discovery with each passing moment. In this newfound openness, we invite the dance of open-heartedness, allowing emotions and experiences to flow freely and unencumbered. With hearts unbarred, deeper connections blossom, and meaningful relationships take root. We move gracefully in the rhythm of give and take, where both joy and sorrow are shared without the spectre of judgment. This openness brings vibrancy to each encounter, colouring our lives in hues of empathy and shared understanding. The harmony of breath and being becomes our guiding force, intertwining the physical and spiritual in a tapestry of presence. Each breath is a whisper of renewal, centering us within the symphony of existence and attuning us to the flow of life. We're reminded of the cycle of inhalation and exhalation, the rhythm of living, undistracted by the constraints of the mask. With this alignment, we navigate life's complexities with grace, forging a steadfast connection with our most authentic selves. To breathe freely is to embrace the luminous unknown, stepping into the future with open arms, welcoming the mystery of life's unfolding narrative. This acceptance invites us to let go of control, finding beauty in uncertainty, and allowing the unknown to become the canvas of possibility. With every choice and interaction, we paint a vibrant picture, each brushstroke a testament to our courage and adaptability. Courage stands by our side as an unwavering companion. It emboldens us to confront the fear of exposure, empowering us to walk the path of vulnerability with steadfastness. Courage whispers in our ear, urging us to rise above doubt, to cross the boundaries of comfort, and venture into the vast expanse of our potential. In every act of bravery, we reinforce our capacity to live unguarded, revealing that the risks of vulnerability are but shadows in the brilliance of a life fully embraced. Embracing the imperfections of our humanity becomes a serene courage in itself, a gentle acceptance of flaws without criticism. This liberation from the pursuit of perfection is an act of self-compassion that holds our imperfections as integral facets of our existence. In this acceptance, we find peace, allowing authenticity to flourish without the burden of external expectations. As the mask falls away, the alchemy of self-discovery begins, inviting us into the depths of who we are truly meant to be. It is a transformative journey, underlined by introspection, an exploration of our inner landscapes where desires, fears, and dreams converge. Through this alchemy, we illuminate the shadows of self-doubt, sculpting an identity unrestrained by labels or expectations. This continuous unveiling reveals the myriad possibilities within us, encouraging us to adapt and evolve with clarity and purpose. Living unguarded ushers in profound joy, a joy that stems from liberation, from the delight found in simplicity, and the pure exhilaration of authentic interaction. Each experience, whether tender or tumultuous, is met with an open heart, creating a vibrancy in life that is both amplified and unfiltered. Everyday moments transform into gifts beyond measure, reminding us that true joy is not a fleeting pleasure, but an enduring journey of authenticity and connection. In the quiet freedom of being, we discover a tranquil oasis, the stillness of spirit that emerges when we are no longer bound by facades. This freedom empowers us with an intrinsic understanding of our value, a value innate and unconditional. It invites us to explore our creativity, engage with curiosity, and marvel at the simplicity of existence. In this serene liberation, we realize that the journey of life is a continuous unfolding, a celebration of authenticity and a testament to the quiet beauty of simply being. As we reach the end of this narrative journey, take a moment to reflect, and if you felt the resonance of these ideas, consider liking and subscribing for more stories and reflections.